Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew, and welcome to Rocket Future. Today, we're in the Rocket Future studio, and not live at a launch pad, but I did want to go live today and bring you some coverage of the Axiom Mission 3 launch. Now, of course, you usually see me go live for Starbase content, Starbase launches, Starbase testing. But if you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you will know that I did originally start doing some coverages of exciting launches, whether them be new launch vehicles or crewed missions, those types of things. So I did. Sorry, I saw the audio was still super high. But I did want to get coverage of today's Axiom 3 mission because it is a crewed launch. And I still think that crewed launches are an exciting part of human spaceflight right now. Of course, it's one of the most exciting parts of human spaceflight. So I wasn't able to go to Axiom 3, but I did want to still bring you some coverage of it and a place for the community to hang out and chat while we wait for this exciting mission. Welcome, Maros. Good to see you. So as you can see on the screen, we are T-minus 38 minutes and 55 seconds from launch. And we will we'll stick with this through the duration of the launch, at least through orbital insertion. So it doesn't sound like they are working any major issues, and it seems like the weather is pretty good. There was a couple storms that they were concerned with, but right now it looks like launch is a go. So don't worry, when it is time to launch, we will bring you full screen on the launch so we can get a good view of everything, and we'll bring you audio as well. From time to time, I will bring in audio from the stream just so y'all can hear all the updates. For example,
typically referred to as max Q. It's worth noting that once we hit max Q, the vehicle will be going supersonic, or faster than the speed of sound.
Once we are through the period of maximum
there you can hear the announcers over at SpaceX issue the updates about today's launch. So anytime I hear anything important being updated, I will bring in their audio. But in the meantime, we can just kind of hang out and talk about today's launch attempt and go from there. Welcome, Gabor. Good to see you. So, of course, like I said, this is the Axiom Mission 3. This is a crewed launch, so there are actually 4 people in the top of that vehicle, that very top cone that you see there. There are 4 people sitting inside that. We have Michael Lopez Algeria, Walter Villadai, Alper Gezeravshi, and Marcus Want. Now, of course, I may have not pronounced those perfectly, but those are the 4 astronauts on board today for Axiom Mission 3. They are going to the International Space Station. That is the destination of this mission. Of course, the International Space Station is a space station in low Earth orbit that humans have been living and working in for over 20 years without a single second of a gap. We've been living and working there for quite a while now. Just listening into the SpaceX announcers, they're just kind of going through the flight profile today and talking about landing burn. I'll make sure I bring in their audio for any important updates we have about the mission. So this was originally scheduled to launch yesterday, but it was there was a scrub yesterday. They wanted some additional time to look over some stuff, but everything appears to be good. Of course, as you can see, the booster that they're riding today is quite charred up. It has been it's been used a few times now. What booster are they on? Let me figure out which booster that they are on. Let's see, Axiom 3 booster. I'm gonna keep looking to see which booster that Axiom 3 is flying on today. But for anybody just joining us, we have a crewed launch here today, and I just wanted to go live just to wish everybody a Happy New Year. We haven't had a Rocket Future stream yet for the new year, at least one that was hosted by me. We had a couple Starbase testing streams, but I wanted to just jump on here and let y'all know that I am back home at Starbase, and ready for some Starbase coverage, and of course for exciting missions like this crewed mission here today. David, welcome. David, Maros, good to see you. So we're just hanging out here T-minus 35 minutes and 12 seconds before launch. Let's see, list of Falcon 9 first stage boosters. Let's look up Axiom 3. AX3. Welcome, Space Girl Falcon. Good to see you. Exciting day. Absolutely. Gabor says this is B1085. So let's see. 1085. So this is, yep, there it is. So this will be its fifth launch, which is really impressive. That's why we see all that charring on the side of the booster. It has flown 4 times prior to today. It has previously launched Axiom 2, Euclid, a couple Starlink, and today it is planned to launch Axiom Mission 3. What you're seeing on the right-hand side there, those connections into the Dragon spacecraft. Again, those 4 crew members are in that Dragon spacecraft. Those are what are known as the umbilicals, providing power, air, data, all of that stuff to the Dragon capsule. They're just showing some footage here of the crew and the preparations that they went through for today's mission. Of course, you saw them on that simulator. This is them inside either the actual capsule that they're riding on today, or potentially a simulator. Most of the controls are touchscreens. There are a couple physical controls for the most important things that they may need to take control over. You can see the crew on the right-hand side there. That is a live view inside the Dragon capsule. You can see that all their visors are down and the seats have been rotated back into launch position. So they're gonna just kind of keep rolling with the timeline here. Again, I'm going to bring in you audio just like this.
Let's take a further look at this crew in action.
When there is important updates in the mission, I'm going to make sure I bring in you that audio from SpaceX. But they're continuing just to talk about the training and everything regarding this mission. As we know, training is very important for these space missions. They have a specific task that they want to go into this mission with to complete. So they got to make sure that they understand what they're doing before they get up there. Also, it is just very important that the crew is trained on how to handle themselves in a space microgravity environment to make sure that they keep themselves safe and everybody around them safe as well. There's also contingencies that they have to train for. So they need to understand how to act in the case of an emergency on the International Space Station or on the way up to the International Space Station, as well as crew egress before launch if that's needed for any reason. So right now you're seeing some footage of them on how they might handle a fire on the International Space Station. So we're just quickly approaching that T-minus 30-minute mark. But how's everybody doing? How is everybody's New Year? How is everybody's holiday? I'd like to just check in with everybody to see how everybody's doing, since it's been a couple weeks since I've hosted a stream here. I went to the Astro Awards this past weekend. Again, that was in Austin, hosted by Everyday Astronaut. Had an absolutely amazing time. Pre-party was amazing. Seeing Scott Manley DJ was awesome, and seeing Tim, Everyday Astronaut, and Salt Fox, the band, play, that was awesome. The Astro Awards themselves was done very well. But obviously the best part of the whole event was just hanging out with everybody. Everybody just came into Austin all for the same reason, to hang out and enjoy the Astro Awards together, and we really did. We really had a great time. That was a lot of fun, and I hope that it was successful enough for them to do that every year. I think it was from just a bystander. It was a really, really good time. Today, I believe, is an instantaneous launch window. So basically, they have just a single moment to launch. And if for any reason they have to work any issues, they do not have additional time to work those issues in a launch window. they basically have one single moment to launch here today, and that's because of the fact that they have to meet up with the International Space Station. They want to make sure that they're inserting themselves in the best orbit to get themselves there with the available energy or delta V that they have. So yeah, if we see any issues being worked today, we'll most likely see a scrub, but hopefully that won't happen. So far, it sounds like everything is going according to plan. Welcome, T. Evans NC. Good to see you. I was just asking how everybody's holidays and New Year's was. Let us know, Thomas, how yours was. Let's check in with some of the audio here.
There's so much happening. It's over 350 hours of research,
Absolutely.
Which is great. But do we think like this is going to help us here on Earth? Does it really?
Absolutely. So everything the crew is doing, it has huge benefits, not only for spaceflight and advancing exploration goals for humanity, but a lot of the research they're doing is really based on benefiting humans down here on Earth, whether it's healthcare, medicine, different kinds of technology applications. Everything they're doing has really tangible benefits to science and technology back down here on Earth.
If you had to summarize each of the country's portfolios, how would you do that? Italy, give me some words.
They are doing some fantastic technical applications for the Italian Air Force, and they are doing some really advanced biomedical research as well with some of their companies that they're working with.
Excellent. Turkey, it's all about bringing all of Turkey together.
Exactly. Turkey has a truly national portfolio. They have everyone across the country getting involved, from researchers at universities all the way down to school children.
ESA and Sweden, what's their portfolio looking like?
ESA has a very...
So basically, they're kind of just talking about how all these different countries are contributing together on space sciences to make life here better on Earth. So it's important to note that even though these missions are taking crews and science up off of the Earth's surface, all of that science and research is relevant to us here on Earth, and we really get a lot out of the science that is done on orbit at the International Space Station and anywhere else in low Earth orbit. Other space stations that are starting to pop up, such as China in their space station, and more commercial space stations to come on board, hopefully relatively soon in the near future. Good to hear that, Thomas, that you are doing good. Very, very good to hear. It's good to see everybody here after our little holiday break here. They're talking about some space weather forecasting, which obviously is one of the easiest things to sell regarding why it's important to get some science up in space. Just being able to forecast weather and weather systems, things like hurricanes and that stuff. We would have no idea that those things were coming until it was too late. If we didn't have things like satellites monitoring those things. Aiden C is here. Welcome, Aiden. It's good to see you. Good to see you. I wanted to show y'all I got the Starship torch in from SpaceX. Look at this thing. Pretty cool. So that just came in before I went on my trip. I didn't have a chance to show y'all there. I did put a short up on this on the YouTube channel that you might have saw, but pretty dang cool. They did a good job on that. I'm happy I got it. So Axiom, of course, is a private company that sends astronauts into space, but they're not as focused on your everyday citizens as companies like Virgin Galactic or Blue Origin on their new Shepard missions. It seems that Axiom has a more professional suited criteria for those who want to go onto their launches. For example, today, all 4 of the crew have backgrounds in military. So these are all either veterans or they're military pilots. They've all been pilots in the military. So that's interesting to see. So yeah, they're all going to go up to the International Space Station. I would imagine that you want to have the most experienced folks as possible when you're going on a mission to the ISS. I know that there has been exceptions to that in the past. I believe film crews have gone up and I think a couple celebrities have gone up in the past. But of course, they are well trained by the time that they get up to the ISS. But 4 military pilots on board Axiom's crew here today.
The ISS is very, very busy up
We
there.
were talking about that. It seems very crowded.
It's very crowded. So this investigation is going to be understanding in different parts of the space station. For example, if you look out the window, if your stress response goes down, do you then perform better in space? And how can we then apply those technologies not only for future spaceflight, but also for engineering and building design back down here on Earth?
There's also a great one on Simon. Now, my question is, Simon, is it more like HAL or TARS?
So it's a bit more like TARS,
Okay,
because
okay.
I'm a big fan of.
Just checking in, they are they're launching on the Crew Dragon Freedom. So of course the different Dragon capsules, which again are reused. This capsule has launched before. They're all named. So this is Crew Dragon Freedom that they're flying on today. This has flown on, I believe, 3 missions before. Yep, it looks like Crew 4, Axiom 2, and Axiom 3. So Axiom 2, which flew in May, they use the same spacecraft that they're using here today. Let's check in here for an update.
Hearing all that different research really kind of cements how important and unique each mission is, right? Each mission has its own suite of research. It has its own crew that makes up that mission.
They're still just kind of talking about some general information and talking points about the mission, but anytime that they bring up something specific to today's launch schedule, launch, I'll bring them back in. T-minus 23 minutes. The crew on board must be feeling the blood flow at this point. I know I would be for sure. I can't imagine what that feeling is like being on a rocket 23 minutes before launch. I just can't. I would do it though. I would do it, especially International Space Station. That would be so sick. That is the mission patch for today. They're saying that this means further beyond in Latin up at the top. So yeah, this year, like I was saying a little bit earlier in the stream, that, you know, I started off on Rocket Future and what it used to be called Solid Rocket Future, as well as Boston Space, which was my first kind of space-related YouTube thing. We started doing live streams of pretty much all different rocket launches in a studio stream set up kind of just like this, and we've kind of moved away from that, doing all the Starbase content and all the Starbase content and SpaceX Starship videos that we've been putting out in streams. But I want to make sure we don't lose that. I will never, I don't think, ever get to the point where we're broadcasting every stream or every launch that happens. We're not ever going to do Starlink launches, anything like that. But crewed missions are still really important and exciting. So I do want to host some of these crewed missions whenever possible on our channel, just to give our community another place to hang out and kind of watch this together, like a little bit of a watch party, and to celebrate human spaceflight, which is something that should be celebrated every chance that we get. So here we are. I do also want to get to some more launches around the country this year and do live streams from the actual launch. So I hope to get to Florida this year. I was hoping to get down there for Artemis 2, but of course that has been pushed to next year. So I'll try to get to Florida, maybe for Blue Origin's New Glenn launch. We'll have to see. Of course, that's not going to be crewed, but that's going to be an exciting launch, as it's going to be the first launch of a new launch vehicle, a very big new launch vehicle. If Neutron flies this year, which, you know, I think it's very unlikely, but if it does, we're going to try to get to Neutron for its first launch up in Virginia. Or actually, I wonder if they're going to launch that one first from New Zealand or Virginia. I think Virginia, though, right? So we'll see on that one. But yeah, we want to... I'm not going to slow down on any of the Starbase stuff. We're going to still... let's check in.
Over there.
Update.
Hey, Kate. The space station team here in Houston is focused on the critical systems on the station, all continuing to function as expected ahead of launch. The teams have verified the command path from the ground up through our constellation of communication satellites to the station, and everything is looking good, and the station will be ready to receive Dragon Saturday morning. Now, once the AX-3 crew arrives at the station, there will officially be 7 nations aboard the station. They will be greeted by the Expedition 70 crew, NASA astronauts Andy Mogensen, Jasmine McBelly, and Laurel O'Hara, Roscosmos cosmonauts Konstantin Borisov, Oleg Kononenko and Nikolai Chub, and JAXA astronaut Satoshi Furukawa. And once Dragon is fully docked to the station, the team here in Houston will assist the Axiom Space and Space Station astronauts with leak checks as they work to open hatches on both the Dragon side and inside the station's pressurized mating adapter. We expect hatch opening to take place approximately 2 hours after docking. Flight directors Diane Daly and Diana Trujillo are on console now, leading flight controllers for launch, and flight director Judd Freeling will lead teams for docking on Saturday.
Awesome.
Mission control in Houston is go for launch. Now with that, let's connect with Sonia at Kennedy Space Center.
There, go for launch. Less than 20 minutes. They're supposed to patch over to somebody else, but they haven't yet. But everything looks like it's going according to plan. Like I just said, we're actually under 19 minutes from now, 18 minutes to go. All of those vapors coming off the side of the vehicle, that is obviously expected. So this is a cryogenic fuels. They are using cryogenic fuels, or very, very, very cold fuels in this vehicle. Some of that is off-gassing and boiling off, and that is those gases interacting with the much warmer atmosphere around it over there in Florida. You can see to the right of the rocket is the tower, the launch tower that they have, and the crew access arm that connects the tower to the vehicle right in there between.
Space Station. Officially, T-minus 18 minutes on the dot. We've had a pretty clean countdown so far today. As I mentioned before, this launch countdown is the framework that syncs everybody together. We have teams in Houston, here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, of course at the Cape itself, firing room 4, and everything is proceeding nominally. The reports that we heard earlier during the post-crew ingress briefing was that the weather was great, although we can see here on our screen a little cloudy, but we see some blue skies through there, so love to see that. We also heard that the team was working no major issues. Both Falcon and Dragon remained healthy.
I'm not sure what was going on with the music there for a second.
5 minutes, we began prop load or propellant loading. We now see some of these white clouds billowing from the vehicle. This is totally normal during the...
They're basically just explaining everything I was explaining on how these clouds of vapors are normal. But it sounds like everything is going according to plan. For folks out there at Kennedy Space Center, or rather at, whether they're watching at Kennedy Space Center or somewhere around Port Canaveral, they will have a pretty good view, it looks like, of this launch up until the point that it goes through that cloud layer. Luckily for us, we should have those onboard cameras from SpaceX on their stream here. We are watching the NASA stream, but obviously those SpaceX, it's just a simulcast of the SpaceX stream. So we should see all those views, even past the point of that cloud layer. So that's great. They always have best views, and of course we will see that booster come back as well. So that should be exciting. We'll see it land. Where is it planned to land today? Wasn't there, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but wasn't there a recent change that is now allowing them to land the crewed mission boosters on land, on one of the landing complexes? They probably talked about that earlier in the stream. We'll keep our eye out for that. we have another update here for you.
Deputy Administrator Bill Nelson.
Thanks so much, John. I'm now joined by NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so very close. NASA has so many decades worth of great relationships in the private sector with the commercial sector. Is this a winning strategy for the future? I know NASA is looking now further than LEO into going to the moon and even further. What does this look like going further, and what are we building on?
It's the new era.
So, of course, they're going to talk about Artemis and everything here. Many of this stuff we're already well-versed in. So I'd like to open the opportunity to anybody in chat that would like to ask any questions. Of course, this is one of the benefits of a stream like this, where I'm bringing you the broadcast from SpaceX or NASA in this case. But I am also here to answer any questions you have about today's mission, today's launch, anything about space, SpaceX, NASA, International Space Station, anything in general. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on that, and I'll do my best to answer any of those things for you. But we're getting closer to T-minus 10 minutes here, so things are going to start getting more and more exciting as we move forward. Like I said earlier, when launch time comes, we are going to go nice and big, full screen for you, so you can see everything as big and as clearly as you can, including the launch and landing of the Falcon 9 booster.
And so the more that we can bring commercial business off the face of the Earth up to low Earth orbit and, for example, replace the International Space Station when it ages out in 2030 with a commercial space station, that then we can become a person who...
That's something I've been thinking about a lot. So I know that the ISS, or International Space Station, like I said, has been, there hasn't been a single second in the last 20 plus years that somebody hasn't been working and living up on the ISS. It is well beyond its original lifespan expectancy, and we keep delaying and delaying the decommissioning of the International Space Station, which is great. We are continuing to do some really, really amazing and important science up there. We really are. It's not like we're funding this thing just to keep it going for no reason. The science is very valuable to us here that are living here on Earth, even though most of us will never get to space. The science and research that they're doing up there is directly relevant to our life and making our life better here on Earth. However, I do worry. Again, I'm not an expert on the International Space Station. I know there are experts at NASA looking at these things and international partners, but I do get concerned with the continual extension of the life of the ISS, and I feel like we've seen an increase in some issues with the ISS in the last few years. Nothing serious, but I just feel like that we're starting to see the age a little bit of the International Space Station. And to be honest, I'm kind of hoping that there are no further extensions. That being said, I don't want to see a gap in the ability for us to do science and research up in low Earth orbit. So if 2030 is the actual final extension of the International Space Station, I hope that they can first get a commercial space station up there. So we shall see. Welcome, Miyazada. It's good to see you. Let's tune in.
Training teams that got us here that prepared this very professional team of astronauts to go to the International Space Station on this very historic mission. First, the NASA teams, both at Johnson Space Center in Houston and at Marshall and Huntsville, Alabama. Then to our international partners, ESA at the European Astronaut Center in Cologne, Germany, and Scuba near Tokyo in Japan. And the Axiom team, whose help really was important when it got down to training for all the payloads that we'll be doing, over 30 experiments, as I think you've heard. So we're excited and very thankful to all those guys, but last but not least, to the folks in whose very capable hands we find ourselves right now, that's SpaceX. Thanks to everybody. Without you, we couldn't have been here. Now let's go do it.
while he is thanking the training crew and everybody for today's mission, I'd like to thank all of our Rocket Future members, especially Yazada, T. Evans NC, Space Girl Falcon, anybody that is hanging out with us here today. Again, I just wanted to provide a place for our community to come hang out with us. Whoop.
SpaceX Dragon, the displays are so configured, and do you mind if I say a few words here, Jake?
MLA, I do not mind at all. You've got the floor.
Let's hear.
First, I want to thank our partners who had the vision and the conviction to help Axiom open access to humans to low Earth orbit, and they are the Italian Air Force and its various ministries of its government, the Space Technologies Research Institutes of Turkey, TÜBİTAK, and the Turkish Space Agency and its ministry, as well as the Swedish National Space Agency in tandem with ESA. And I also want to thank the team. If you're listening to this through an earpiece sitting in Hangar X and Launch Control or in Hawthorne and Mission Control, you're on the team. And the same is true of people who'll be sitting at those consoles and consoles just like them, and Mission Control in Houston and the Payload Operations and Integration Center in Huntsville. Same is true for all the trainers that helped us get where we are today with the crew ready to launch. And of course, the engineers, technicians, managers, and executives who, over decades, designed, assembled, and are now operating the most complex vehicle in the world that we have the privilege to go visit. Same is true for the visionaries who conceived and developed this amazing rocket that we're sitting on and the beautiful and capable capsule.
It's a little quiet. I wish I could bring it up louder, but I can't.
On the team, and of course, so are our friends and families who have given us their love and support from the very first step of this journey. And last but not least, the team at Axiom Space, the people who have poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this. To the four of us that are lucky enough to man the good ship Freedom at this point, are humbled to be on the team. We're grateful to our teammates, and we are go for launch. Plus Ultra.
Copy all, Mike. As we just ticked through T-minus 8 minutes, I'll let you know you've got a whole bunch of people rooting for you here and indeed all over the world. Godspeed, Axiom 3.
All right. I was just texting.
Really nice words there coming.
Y'all know our buddy Titan. Titan is currently out there watching for the liftoff of Axiom 3. I just let him know to keep us in the loop and share with us any excitement that he has down there on Axiom's on the ground there at Axiom 3. So let's see what he says.
Thermal shock whenever the full flow of that super chilled liquid oxygen flows into the engines.
I wonder why their stream is so quiet. It's nothing on my end. I just checked everything. And everything is...
Falcon 9.
I'm just double checking.
RP1 load is complete.
Sounds like it just came up a little bit.
We have completed loading RP1, which is a highly refined type of kerosene on board station.
It's a little better.
Falcon 9. You've got that great view on your screen. As we mentioned earlier, Falcon 9 is an RP1 and liquid oxygen fueled vehicle, so LOX fueling continues on the vehicle on both the first and second stage.
Blue skies there at the launch site. We're launching out of pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center. We are 60% go for those weather conditions, which we're always keeping an eye on around the Florida.
Only 60% go on weather, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
The terminal count for Dragon. This involves a couple of things, but primarily just means that Dragon will be transitioning to internal power. Great view there of the Dragon capsule, as well as the Dragon trunk, which is the unpressurized section just below the pressurized section, which of course is where we have the crew sitting.
SpaceX just tweeted out, teams are keeping an eye on weather, which is now 60% favorable for liftoff. That's better odds than 50-50, so that's good.
They're pressing for strongback retract. Dragon is in configure for terminal count.
Configured for
so
terminal
like Kate
count.
mentioned, we are heading into terminal count, and Falcon 9 is ready for that configuration. We also just heard the call out that the Falcon 9 tanks are pressurized for strongback retraction. The strongback is that white.
Again, when we're in within a couple minutes of launch, we'll go full screen for y'all so you get the full experience.
Strongback is retracting.
Up until it begins to retract.
So you can see that white arm start to... Yep, so we're going to see those clamps open up, as you can now see. And that whole white section on the right-hand side is going to start leaning back away. That's to keep that piece of hardware safe for the next launch. Looks like a pretty calm day out there in the water. You can now see that top tank start to vent out, which means it is full and boiling off, and they're continuing excuse me, continuing to top it off. Views inside Hawthorne, which is where SpaceX headquarters are over in California. Let's start to bring you in on a bigger screen here.
Team is thrilled to hear that news.
LOX load is fully loaded. If anybody has seen a crewed launch in person, let me know in chat. I've seen one crewed launch so far, and I'd like to know if you guys have as well.
Liftoff stage 1 combined between that RP1.
Dragon is in terminal count and is on internal power.
There is confirmation that Dragon is on internal power and headed into the final minutes of our countdown. As I was saying earlier at liftoff, Falcon 9 will be burning nearly 700 gallons of fuel per second. Great views there too of our crew inside Dragon, awaiting liftoff just over 2 minutes from now.
T-minus 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's see if they get a final weather check.
For completion of LOX load on the second stage. Just topping off. And there's that call out. And more cheers from our crowd here at Hawthorne, California.
Yazada has not seen a crewed launch.
Confirmation there that Dragon is in auto idle.
It's a totally different experience. You should.
On your screen right there as we head toward launch.
Look at that. That thing is ready to go.
Gas close out and started. Expect loud venting.
I feel bad for folks at the Cape to view this. It looks pretty cloudy and hazy and foggy. All right. I will allow SpaceX to bring you all the remainder of the updates. Let's go Axiom. Let's go SpaceX. This should be good.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
There's that
Dragon is in countdown.
Confirmation that Falcon 9 is in startup and Dragon is in countdown, which means that the vehicles are now controlling the final seconds as we lead up to liftoff.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
And there's confirmation from our flight director.
Go for launch.
Very nice.
We are go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engine full power.
Here we go.
And liftoff. Go Axiom 3.
Further beyond, opening the door for more to follow. Godspeed AX3.
Very good.
Propulsion nominal.
Looking beautiful through the cloud layer.
Of course, if you are just joining us, this is the launch of the Axiom 3 launch to the International Space Station. Those incredible views on your screen, and there's our first shot of the AX3 crew inside Dragon on ascent.
They are
just
pumped.
a few seconds here, we should hear the call
As
out
they
that
should.
Falcon 9.
Power and telemetry. Stage 1 throttle down.
There's that call out that Falcon 9's engines are throttling down to help us pass through the period of maximum dynamic pressure during ascent.
Max Q.
There's that call out for Max Q,
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
and that Falcon 9 is going faster than the speed of sound.
Nice.
Now, at this point, we will begin to throttle Falcon 9's engines back up.
Stage 1 throttle up.
There's that call out for mission control as well, as our AX3 crew continues on their way to space.
I keep looking to the right because a streamer that I watch from South Korea is seeing their first launch, live streaming it from Cape Canaveral.
The next event we have is MVAC chill, similar to what
MVAC chill underway.
there's that call telling
Very
us
cool.
that, again, we're flowing a little bit of that super chilled liquid oxygen.
Stage 1 Bravo.
All right, so pretty soon we're going to start to see main engine cutoff. That's coming up in the next few seconds here. You'll see those 9 Merlin engines shut off, and we'll start to see the separation of the first stage and the second stage. And you'll see the first stage start to boost back, and you'll see the second stage light its engines for the first time and continue to bring the crew up to an orbit that will eventually get them to the International Space Station. So very good performance it looks like so far, as should be expected at this point with the Falcon 9. Very reliable rocket it's turning out to be. That being said, we have to make sure that we don't get complacent. Space is still hard. So here's Miko, main engine cutoff. Let's see that separation. Looks like we're not getting onboard footage of separation today. Oh, here we go. So on the right-hand screen, you can see stage 1 start to drop away and stage 2 continue its engines up.
Beautiful view there. The brighter light is the second stage under power of the MVAC engine. That first stage booster is now heading back toward the Florida coast. One thing I love about daylight launches is we're going to get some amazing views. We should be able to see the Space Coast come back into view as the first stage gets closer.
Right.
Landing zone 1.
Crew is pumped up. So that was confirmation that we are... Oh, let me move myself out of the way here. Out of the telemetry. But like I was saying, with confirmation that they are bringing the first stage back to landing zone, which is awesome. So those folks that are out there seeing the launch should be able to see that landing as well. We have a super chat from El Hungaro. Thank you very much. I appreciate you very much, El Hungaro. Thank you for that.
Everything looking good on the first stage as well as we see those grid fins begin to deploy.
SpaceX Dragon loud and clear.
Yep, so those grid fins are actually used to help steer the rocket as it's coming back down to the Florida coast. That along with RCS thrusters, you can see those shots of white vapor. Those are little boosters that are helping readjust the booster's trajectory to get back to the Space Coast.
Will be a single engine burn to bring us back to landing zone 1 at Kennedy Space Center.
Hands up on the controls, just in case.
And you can, of course, always keep an eye on their telemetry down in the bottom corner of your screen.
Thank you again, Alhangaro, for that super chat. We appreciate you very much.
At this point, we should be just about a minute and a half away from that entry burn
Dragon,
start.
SpaceX trajectory nominal.
Good
Good to
call
hear.
outs there that we continue on a nominal trajectory with Dragon.
SpaceX Dragon, we copy.
And acknowledgement from the crew. These are incredible views on your screen right here. Again, the left-hand side of your screen is stage 1, making its way back to Florida. And stage 2, you see that MVAC engine burning, taking our AX-3 crew to orbit.
We're going to see the landing burn, well, the entry burn and the landing burn shortly, as they just mentioned. So we'll see that booster come back and land down on the ground there at Cape Canaveral, which is always a very cool thing to see. Really impressive. Even though they've nailed it every single time, it's still exciting. So we're gonna definitely hang out, watch this entry burn and landing burn and second engine cutoff. So we will stick with you for a little while longer to provide those updates and just to watch all this together. But I did just want to kind of repeat myself a little bit just to say that I appreciate y'all for hanging out here today. I just wanted to do a live stream here on the channel today because it's been a couple weeks since I've hosted, a stream here. We did some Starbase testing streams that I wasn't hosting when I was visiting family up in Massachusetts. Here's the entry burn on that left-hand side. Keep an eye on that. But I wanted to just jump on, and what a great opportunity for a crewed space flight to jump on and say hi to the community and wish everybody a Happy New Year. Hopefully everybody's doing wonderful. And I want to do more coverage of these crewed missions. I think they're, our whole goal here at Rocket Future is to document and share the most exciting moments of spaceflight. And crewed missions are still exciting. They are very exciting and should be celebrated every chance that we get. Yazada with the super chat. Thank you very, very much, Yazada. Appreciate you very much. And we have huge things planned this year, honestly, here at Rocket Future. Keep an eye on that left-hand side of the screen here. Huge things planned for Rocket Future this year, and we can't do it without y'all's support. So the super chats are very, very much appreciated, especially for this year. We can't do the events that we're planning to do this year without some cash flow, to be quite honest with you. Let's tune in.
Zone 1. Crowds cheering here at SpaceX Mission Control Hawthorne as we tune in to see if we stick the landing.
No surprises there. SpaceX sticks the landing again.
We did
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
We did stick that landing. Falcon
Very
9
cool.
has landed once again, but turning our attention back to the crew, as you see there, our next
big event, as she's just about to say, is second engine cutoff. So it looks like a pretty good orbital insertion here so far.
Dragon is commanded to separate. A lot of just the energy here at SpaceX Mission Control is buzzing. You can hear commentary behind us. Right now, the crew is experiencing about 3 Gs, so pretty much a roller coaster for
Not
those
too bad.
thrill
Not too
seekers
bad at all.
out there.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
And we are about 20 seconds away from that.
Thomas, thank you so much for gifting a Rocket Future membership. Let's see who gets that membership. It was Arpad Ugari. Welcome, Arpad Ugari. Thank you so much, Thomas, for that gifted membership. Appreciate you very much. Was worried about that creaky leg. Exactly. All right, here's Seco 1. Looks good.
INVEC shutdown.
Nice. You can see the sun glaring off the camera here.
SpaceX, you're in a nominal orbit.
That's a beautiful shot.
There we heard those call outs of second engine shutdown and nominal orbital insertion.
Launch escape system disarmed.
Nice.
And the disarming of our launch escape system. That, of course, means that our AX-3 crew is getting their first experience here in microgravity.
So you should see their arms start to lift up. I wonder if they have a 0G indicator on board today. I'm not sure if they do. Let's see.
Right now, Dragon is performing a series of onboard checks to ensure that we're ready to begin actuating those Draco maneuvering thrusters on board the vehicle.
27,000 kilometers per hour at an altitude of 198
Now, as
kilometers.
we prepare for Dragon separation, we should have a great camera view here in just a couple of minutes. Oh, wow, and beautiful views of the Earth. And
Wow.
our MVAC engine up there in orbit as well.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Views there as we await that separation.
SpaceX is already tweeting out views and everything, so make sure you check out the SpaceX X account. Look at that.
Absolutely incredible images
some
that we
ice
are
or
getting
something
back from
falling
up
off
in
there.
space as we await Dragon separation in just about a minute.
Only 10 minutes. It only takes 10 minutes to get to space, y'all. A little bit less than 10, which is crazy. We think about space as this hard to
More
reach
views
place.
there of our AX-3 crew on board Dragon. We are now just about 30 seconds away from that anticipated Dragon separation. Starting to see the crew there play a little bit with the fact that they are operating in microgravity. And a great shot of mission control here
Oops.
in our headquarters at Hawthorne,
Classic.
California.
Yeah, talking while muted. Also, volume is a lot higher. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. All right. Yeah, I was just saying how space is
This
only
camera view here
100
is taking
kilometers.
a look, at Dragon.
Now I'm also talking over SpaceX. Space is only 100 kilometers or 62 miles away, which is nuts. Think about a city that's just 62 miles away. That's a beautiful separation of the Dragon, the second stage. But yeah, space is 8 or 10 minutes to get to space. It doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes a lot of energy. It's close. It's closer than many of us think. And hopefully someday it'll be a lot more accessible to us all.
Of the nose cone. That will take...
Dragon, this is the SpaceX Falcon team. We want to congratulate you on a great ride to orbit. I think you're demonstrating the ultimate in reuse. A reused Commander, a reused Dragon, and a reused Falcon. Or maybe flight experience is a better word. Enjoy space.
Team 3, y'all first, and as I was saying, it's a team sport. Thank you, guys.
We see those RCS thrusters. SpaceX has the best onboard video.
Yes. Congrats. Welcome to your first flight on Dragon. Mike, on the other hand, welcome to the Dragon Frequent Flyer Club. I imagine you'll have enough miles to qualify for platinum status after this flight. Godspeed, Axiom 3. Cheers.
Imagine going to space not once but twice.
Thanks to you and your team. We're very grateful up here.
And some NASA astronauts have gone dozens of times.
Forth between the AX-3 crew as well.
Maybe not dozens, but they've gone a lot.
Chief Engineer Bill Gerstenmayer, who, oh, I heard the ping. That is our first Quindar tone of AX-3.
Thomas says, takes me 45 minutes to get to the store for milk.
One, which is the mission.
Only takes them 8 to get to space.
So if you want to talk about reuse, we also have some...
All right, so let's give it another minute or so. It looks like, obviously, their mission is far from over. They have a long way to go to get to the International Space Station. They will dock to the International Space Station and enter the ISS and do their mission for a period of time before they return to Earth in a period of what I would guess is days or weeks. Let's see. Launch date, end of mission. I don't see how long this mission is. Oh, expected to last 14 days. So it's a 14-day mission most likely. But we'll have to see. Sometimes that will get extended due to weather and that type of stuff. They did just ask for an encoder review of the nose cone. I was curious if there was a specific reason why they asked, but most likely not. I think they're just going through usual procedures. Yep, general operations, it sounds like. Okay, so yeah, they're going to have approximately 14-day mission on space, then they're going to come back. I don't think we'll do a re-entry stream, but you never know. We'll have to see. There's a chance I could also do like a members-only stream or something for that. That's another thing, folks. I'm just listening in. I do plan to do some more member-exclusive things on the channel this year as well. To try to provide y'all additional value for becoming members. I appreciate y'all that are members, truthfully, just to support the channel. We don't offer much of member-only benefits at the moment, so the fact that y'all are still supporting with member-only as members is really, really awesome. So thank you for that. We do hope to provide you additional value as a member this year, and I do have some really exciting ideas. I'm trying to think if I can drop a hint for one without giving it away, but let me just say this. I'm working on a member-only feature that has to do with the camera. That's all I'm saying for now. So we're working on that. Hopefully we can make it work. You know, it's not a guarantee, but it's something we are working on. But what a great mission. Good to see you all in this new year of 2024, one that I think is going to be very exciting for spaceflight. In fact, I did write a short article about this on our new article format. Let me include a link to that. We're going to post some occasional very, very short articles to our TLDR page. Too long, didn't read. As a way to keep folks up to speed with the most important in spaceflight news in a very short format, easily consumable way. So this is going to be good for folks who are just starting to get into spaceflight news and that type of stuff. Really, really easy to understand, and it tells you why I've chosen a specific piece of news to publish on. So that's something new to the channel as well. So like I said, a lot coming up to Rocket Future this year. It should be exciting. Additional value for members, and additional value for anybody who subscribes to the channel in general. We got a big event coming up in April 20th. We haven't released the details about that yet, but keep an eye on your calendars for April 20th. What are we looking at here? Excuse me. We're just looking at the opening of the nose cone. Yeah, big thing on 420. Of course, that is the first 1-year anniversary of the Starship full stack launch. So we hope to have a giant celebration on that day. So keep an eye on that. Thank you, Space Girl Falcon. Appreciate you very much. I don't think I have much else to add here. So let's watch this through T-minus 20 minutes. We got 1 more minute for any questions or comments from anybody. Thank y'all for hanging out so far here today. Great mission so far. Space Girl Falcon, can't wait to get more details on the 420 event. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Yazada says 2024 will be really exciting. First Starship in orbit and multiple Starship flights. First New Glenn flight, hopefully. First Dream Chaser flight. Absolutely. And of course, I was hoping for Artemis 2 as well. Doesn't look like we're going to see that this year. But regardless, all of the preparations up until you know, all the preparations for Artemis 2 still have to happen, so we'll still going to hear all that news about Artemis 2's preparations. Hopefully we'll see something close to a stack of SLS before the end of the year, if they're planning early on 2025. So, well, they're looking for September 2025, so I don't know if we're going to see close to a full stack before the end of the year, but we'll have to see. But there it is, T-minus 20 minutes, nose cone has been deployed, crew is safely in orbit, first stage came back, landed nominally, and that's all I got for today. So thank you all very much, appreciate you. Rocket Future, big year for space, big year for Rocket Future. Appreciate your support in this journey, and I think we're going to have a fun one this year, so let's kick it off the right way, and hopefully a Starbase stream, maybe this weekend, no promises, but yeah, hopefully this weekend. There's a road closure tomorrow morning. I will not likely do a stream for that road closure unless it's a expected move of booster 10 or ship 20. What are we on? Ship 28. So if I do see that the flight hardware is going to be moved down to the launch site, I probably will do a stream, but we'll have to wait and see. So we'll have some Starbase updates for y'all soon, but I am back in town. I'm back at Starbase. More content for you soon. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time. My name is Andrew, and peace out.